Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you guys are having a good or great day. And if you're not, then your day just got better. Or if you're already having a good or great day, then your day just got even better. Today, we are another episode of the GR8 podcast. We are talking about how to get into comic books. Oh boy, I hope you guys are excited. We're going to get real nerdy up in here. It's going to be fun. So if you're ever interested on how to hop on comic books, how to start reading them, try to get more of your favorite character, this is the perfect place. I read comics. I read comics almost weekly. I don't read them daily because I get tired or whatever, but I read comics fairly weekly. I have a local comic book shop that I go to every week on Wednesdays, and we'll get more into that later. But yeah, I pick up a comic issue every week, and I have a couple comic lines that I'm on. So what better way, what better person to talk to you guys about comic books other than me? What can I say? Nate Hayden, Nate the Great, greatest YouTuber and podcaster ever in the entire world. Okay, let's just get into it. So let's just get into the general maintenance of all of this. So you want to get into comic books. What are they? They usually come in single issues, which are about roughly 20 pages with a bunch of ads in them. Like a single issue is probably like one episode of a TV show, but like it's a really, really short TV show. Like a really, really short episode, but a really, really long TV show. Single issues probably take like about 10 minutes to read, and you get a bunch of panels on each page, and then you have an ad, bunch of pages on each page, and you have an ad, and then all of those issues, let's say maybe a 6-issue run, go into an entire volume. You could read entire comic lines that are all just one volume. They usually take up like 50 issues and mish them all into one, making one entire volume, and that's volume one of a story. And usually that entire volume is A to Z story front to back. A lot of the times when they go to like volume 2 or volume 3, that's a whole different story. That's a whole different chapter in a story of a specific character, or like the Justice League or the Avengers or something along those lines. That I refer to Invincible. So what essentially Invincible is like the TV show on Amazon. It's the first about like 20 issues of the first compendium of Invincible. And the first compendium is like multiple volumes in one book, and they have multiple compendiums. So there's like a lot to it, and there's tons of issues, but they just wrapped it all into one. That's usually what they do after each volume, all into one book after each issue is released. So different comic lines are tying into each other. Why even try? Like all this convoluted mess of books, killing trees and printing out so many comic books. Like, why even try? Like, why does it matter? In this day and age, comic book movies are just insane. Okay, we're coming up on The Flash, and The Flash has Batman, multiple Batman, multiple Flash, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, tons of other people. Like, superhero movies have just taken over. Multiple of the top 10 grossing movies of all time in the box office are comic book movies or characters based off a comic book. So that's probably why, if you want more characters, if you want more of your favorite character, if you want more of your favorite universe, then go read more comic books. Because you get so many different characters and so many different comic book storylines that you don't have to wait until the next movie to get more of your favorite character. I refer to the next Spider-Verse movie. That's not coming out until like next year? And let's say you wanted more Miles Morales. Well, good thing there are tons of Miles Morales' runs, and he pops up in several Marvel and Spider-Man stories. So you don't have to wait until next year to get more Miles Morales. You don't have to, keep watching Spider-Verse, the first one and the second one, over and over and over again to get that character. Same thing with Gwen Stacy. Same thing with Spider-Man 2099, same thing with Spider-Punk. You can get all of them usually in their own comic book lines, which is really easy. So let's get into, usually, I guess by this point, you either just love me so much, or you're actually kind of interested on how to get started. And my first tip, my first idea, just start reading. Just start reading. Go to your local comic book shop. or comic book store, or just bookstore in general. Barnes & Noble has just tons of comic books. Usually they're all like graphic novels, and all those graphic novels are usually like a first volume or second volume, tons of issues just meshed into one book. That's easy. It's easy to just pick that up. Oh, a Batman one. Okay, I'll just start at page 1. But man, all these different comic books, I don't really understand like how to, like who do I go to? What character do I want? Not too sure. Oh, by the way, you can get them on Amazon and ebooks or, a website or whatever. All of them will most likely definitely have more of the comic books throughout history. So it's really easy to jump on that. But like I said, like if you want more of your favorite character, if you want more of, the Justice League, if you want more of Spider-Man or something along those lines, you can just go easily pick up a comic book issue of those specific characters and of those specific ensemble teams. But if you're still not too sure, what character do I want to start on? What stories do I want to get really involved in? Find a book that is an ensemble of characters such as the Justice League or the Avengers or Teen Titans. These books have tons of characters in them, all doing different things and their own different stories. And reading about different characters is an easy segue into getting interested in individual characters and their world and what they're about. I remember a couple of my first comic books were Justice League ones, and I got super interested in Martian Manhunter and Aquaman. I don't know why, I just thought they were cool. And from then, I've looked into and read more of Martian Manhunter and Aquaman material. Super easy. You read a comic book of 10 plus characters, you're bound to connect with or find one that you actually really like. You take that one and then you go search up what's their most recent comic book line. Chances are it's within the last 2 years, 6 months, you never know. And the best way to, actually get started, that's probably how to start reading. But what this whole comic book journey starts at your local comic book shop. Ask the cashier what they're reading and pick that up. And they'll probably give you like tons of different comic runs that they either know, heard of, or are reading. Probably like about like 10 or whatever. I mean, because they work at the comic book shop. So get them to give you their top 3, roughly. They'll probably give you one from Marvel, one from DC, and one indie comic. Super easy. That's what my guy did when I went there. It's like, well, this is like when I was getting into it, but this is when I got back from Disney. I said, okay, man, I've been off the wagon for a while. Give me something, please. Like, what do you have? And he just went down the line. And then I picked out Batman Brave and the Bold, which is a newer comic book line. But this is, I did this because I was on a couple of comic book lines and I fell off the wagon. I want to get back on. And I picked up Batman Brave and the Bold. I've been collecting Blade Runner comic books, but it was super easy to jump on Batman. This is issue 1. You always want to start on issue 1. You don't want to start on issue 2 or 3. I mean, you obviously can, but you're missing some of the story. That's like starting episode 2 or 3 in a TV show. Like, why would you do that? You didn't even get the beginning. But that's an easy way to get into comic books as a whole. Every Wednesday is when new comic books come out. I'm actually on Riddler Year 1, written by the Riddler himself, Paul Dano, and all of the Blade Runner comic book runs, which 2039 is the current one running. And there's tons of YouTubers and social media influencers who also read comic books, and they probably give their opinion and ratings on thoughts on the newest issues. So it's super easy to hear what other people are doing. I also reference Variant Comics. It's a YouTube channel, and I think they're great at just, every week or every month, they have one or multiple YouTube videos breaking down the latest comic book runs. They usually choose one at the beginning of every like 6 months, or they choose like several. Or during comic book runs, they just hop on it. Hey, we're going to tell you about this one. Every week, we're going to tell you about this one. I think that's super cool. I'm really glad that they did that, because sometimes you don't even have to read it. You just listen to what they're talking about. And that's not necessarily like the best way, because, they only talk about specific comic book runs. And if you want a specific character, then you go watch and you go listen to that specific character. You go read that specific character. But that's just an easy way to just, hey, I'm going to jump on this. Let me do this. Every Wednesday, I'm going to go to my local comic book shop. I'm going to pick up a new issue. There we go. Try to pick out runs that are more a part of a series, like a specific run or a specific mini-series, because mainline comics run for years and years, reaching up to about 1,000 issues or more like the Amazing Spider-Man or Batman or Superman, super, 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 super popular characters, and their comic book stories go on for years, literally years. One comes out every Wednesday, or sometimes one comes out every month. And sometimes they don't even do that. Sometimes they wait in between seasons to drop their new issue. So it just takes a super long time to collect them all and read the whole story. So just pick one, choose one that's out of a miniseries. I refer to Gotham City Year One. It's a 6-issue miniseries, really easy to pick up on, really easy to jump onto, and they have cool art and they have a cool story. Easy. That's kind of if you're looking to read more contained and digestible stuff. First, ask your local comic book shop, but second, you can also research all of this stuff on numerous websites and Twitter about which ones to get into. The chances are your favorite character has numerous comic book lines just for them. And the chances are your favorite comic book character had just recently wrapped up a volume, are in the middle of a series, or are going to get their first issue. So just look into it. Read about it. My favorite runs are Blade Runner. My favorite couple characters are The Flash, Static Shock, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, a lot of DC. I hopped on Moon White, Red, White, and Black. It's just fun. It's fun to, have something to do outside of, goofing off with your friends. If you want less friends, go read some more comic books. No, but seriously, I hope you guys had fun just listening to me honestly just ramble. Hopefully you kind of got the gist and kind of the idea about getting into comic books, why get into them, how to do that if I really want to get into it. Not me, but you, talking about in, I guess, third person. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, having fun with me, going crazy, talking about comic books, trying to get into them. We want more readers. We honestly do. And more readers makes more sales, and more sales means more comic books, and we want more comic books. So I thank you guys. Appreciate you. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.